and konnichiwa. Plus, yabaseo. Will here of the POLIT'AI CHI, talking briefly and concisely about slideshow montage, the video highlights rather, in full, highlights in whole coming up. Talking briefly and concisely about economics of the NFL 501 with a little 701 pop culture reference. Your presence through watching is honored. Hi. Alright, see some of the figures coming up here. This is an addendum to the 101 episode, last uploaded, with a little insight from former Speaker Newt Gingrich. I think I was getting some bad intel when I was a full-blown, slightly left-of-center Democrat. Oh, he was such a bad Speaker of the House. And maybe that was true, and maybe he's melting with age, but the guy sure makes sense now. Read for the Poly Ranch? Roll.
Billionaire owners associated with millionaire players who make an enormous amount of money because the U.S. government has granted them an exemption from antitrust. And many of whom play in stadiums paid for by the tax.
Alright. That's just a little brief snippet of everything coming up. Down here in the corner, FYI, because there might be a slight flicker issue going on here. So like when this new format kicked in on the OMSR channel, parent channel to this, the POLIT'AI CHI, on YouTube, came down in the corner, low profile, low drag, high speed. Where sports and politics collide 5 years ago when I used that tagline to describe the channel on YouTube makes me look like a freaking genius. We're certainly prescient to the future. Alright, and former speakers got some fascinating insight into the kind of the history with the national anthem as it relates to sport events. Alright, thanks for watching. No silly DUIs while you're out there. Roll clips.
To the national anthem. After a giant flag was rolled out, Old Jones stood and remained standing arm in arm with two Dallas Cowboys during the entire performance. So, what should we make of the latest protests? What's the ramifications of all this? Joining us now, author of the #1 New York Times bestseller, Understanding Trump, Fox News contributor, former Speaker of the House, also has a brand new online series entitled Defending America, which we better be prepared with North Korea. Mr. Speaker, great to see you, as always. I'm watching this, and it's amazing to me. I don't think many people get this, except the fans. There are some that are so locked in that they think they're right. What's your reaction?
Well, first of all, the reason I developed the course on Defending America, which people can see at defendingamericacourse.com, is very simple. It's not about foreign policy. It's not about North Korea. It's about exactly what you and I are watching. We've had people playing the national anthem at sporting events since 1862 during the Civil War. It became really popular in 1942 during World War II. It was seen as a symbol of being together, of being American, of something we could all be proud of. And what we've had on the left is this continuing, steady erosion of belief in America, this constant attack on our institutions, our history, our personalities. And now you have this fiasco. I mean, think about what you're watching. Billionaire owners associated with millionaire players who make an enormous amount of money because the U.S. government has granted them an exemption from antitrust. And many of whom play in stadiums paid for by the taxpayer in what is a multi-billion-dollar company. In effect, if you take the NFL as a company, they feel oppressed. They feel they have to somehow bear witness. My view is, look, every person who's a multi-millionaire player who wants to go out and help people, I'm for you. Every person who wants to go out and run for office because you're multi-millionaires, I'm for you. What I'm not for is for you to take a sporting event that we all tuned into as a unifying act and destroy it by your personal bias and your personal ideology.
$1 billion, plus $1 billion taxpayers have paid for new stadiums and renovations. Do you know, Business Insider, New Jersey Star Ledger report, $5.4 million, that the military's paid the NFL to salute the troops. Listen to what Hillary Clinton said earlier tonight. I want to get your reaction to her vicious statement.
express
attacks
yourself.
black athletes, as he did, starting with his rally in Alabama, continued on Twitter, and he attacks them for protesting peacefully for equality, for standing up for what they believe. And he does it, once again, to dog whistle to his base and to try to detract attention from other things that are going on. But it's quite telling that he is willing to attack black athletes.
He never said a thing about race. Isn't this about respect for the anthem, the flag,
And the men and women in military that fought and died?
Look, let me say first of all, Hillary Clinton is a racist demagogue. I mean, let's be blunt. Let's be straight out about this thing. She can't possibly debate on the merits any of the things we're talking about.
You
Does
mean
she
a
believe
racial
the
demagogue.
flag?
They didn't mean her, she's racist. You meant racial demagogue.
I mean, she is using racism as a deliberate weapon. She is dividing the country on racial grounds as a deliberate political weapon in exactly the model of modern liberalism, which can't possibly survive if they don't constantly go back to racism. Now I'm talking about their racism. Donald Trump said nothing that had anything to do about race. He talked about defending the flag. He talked about defending, our national anthem. Now, how you take that and translate it into a racial attack tells you everything you need to know about the sickness of the modern left and the sickness of the Democratic Party. They cannot survive if they can't constantly yell race. And as a result, they have become one of the most divisive and destructive forces in America today.
Where does this end? Will Americans say, I'm a Saturday football watcher?
I think the American people have to have an honest, open conversation. And then I think, let's go back to the idea of First Amendment rights. I am totally for the rights of every athlete in America on their own time to go out and say anything they want to. I'm totally for their taking their multi-million-dollar salary. If they want to go spend it on left-wing causes, go do it. If they want to go take their spare time and go to left-wing rallies, go do it. What I am not for is them deciding that they'll take an event that you and I tuned into because we thought it was a neutral sporting event.
I was at Walter Reed Hospital recently, and I saw so many great young people, and they're missing legs and they're missing arms, and they've been so badly injured. And they were fighting for our country. They were fighting for our flag. They were fighting for our national anthem. And for people to disrespect that by kneeling during the playing of our national anthem, I think is disgraceful. I think it's a very important thing for the NFL to not allow people to kneel during the playing of our national anthem, to respect our country and to respect our flag.
Now, the president's dead on when it comes to this kneeling issue. The national anthem, the flag, it's about saluting, honoring our military. Remember, it was written after the Battle of Fort McHenry. And for all the president's critics out there, he shouldn't talk about this, he was right to call attention to this issue. So all these NFL players, coaches, owners, the ones that are kneeling because of apparent social injustice, or to protest the president himself, or to raise awareness for whatever other leftist issues they may be promoting, well, I'd make the argument they're completely uninformed. If they are about inclusion and unity and understanding, then why don't they sit down with the brave men and women who fought and bled for this country? Maybe they should learn why every American should proudly stand for the flag, for the Star-Spangled Banner. Why don't they talk to the mothers and fathers? I've interviewed them who lost their sons and daughters. Or why don't they talk to those who had their limbs blown off fighting for this country? I'm pretty sure they'd be happy to explain why people should in fact stand. This is about respect. This is about respect for the military, for our country, for our flag, and those who fought under that flag. It's plain and simple, which is why these acts of protest are beyond disrespectful. Now, if some NFL players, coaches, owners, you want to keep doing it, you go for it. But here's my prediction. People are going to continue to change the channel, and they'll stay home on football Sunday. And like I said last night, date. Saturday is now my official football day, unless and until this is resolved. And according to the Wall Street Journal, DirecTV is now letting at least some customers cancel subscriptions to its Sunday ticket package of NFL games and obtain refunds if they cite players' national anthem protests as the reason. Also, look what's happening around the country. Look at this. People who spent hundreds and hundreds of dollars on NFL memorabilia, they're burning their jerseys. They were the once prized possessions and treasures. They are that upset. Now, while President Trump is defending the flag, the military, Republicans like Speaker of the House, Paul Ryan, who will be on this show tomorrow night, are coming out and they are supporting the president. Let's take a look.
People are clearly within their rights to express themselves how they see fit. My own view, though, is we shouldn't do it on the anthem. The national anthem, our flag, and the people who defend it and represent it, that should be celebrated everywhere and always, and that's my opinion.
And the Attorney General, Jeff Sessions, he's also backing the president. Watch what he said.
The President of the United States has free speech. He believes, and I believe, that people should take a moment before a football game and stand when the national anthem is played. What's wrong with that? It's not political. It's not an affirmation of Trump or Hillary Clinton or any other agenda. It's simply an affirmation, respect for the United States of America and this great heritage of freedom, and for these football players, prosperity that they have.
Taking a knee or staying in the locker room during the national anthem, you know what? That's pretty easy to do. Addressing real problems that impact real people and doing something about that is a lot harder. Let's start by helping the people we always talk about, the millions of forgotten men and women in this country. 50 million Americans in poverty, 50 million on food stamps, 90+ million Americans out of the labor force. If the NFL, you want to continue to disrespect the country, the military, well, that's given players, by the way, and owners the opportunity to make millions and even in some cases billions of dollars. Then it's time to stop taking handouts from the American taxpayers. I doubt you'll hear this elsewhere in the media. Let's look at the numbers. The average public subsidy for an NFL stadium is $266 million taxpayer dollars. Since the year 2000, it is estimated $3.2 billion in federal taxpayer money has gone to help build private sports stadiums. Then you factor in local and state funding for stadiums, well, that number grows to $5.9 billion and $6.7 billion. That's over just the last 20 years. And if that's not shocking enough, well, there's the NFL's paid patriotism scandal. There was a Senate report. It found that from the years 2012 to 2015, the Department of Defense, they actually paid the NFL $6.1 million to honor troops and for recruiting promotions. Now, the league did pay back $700,000 of that, but only after coming under intense criticism. What about the rest of the money? Now, those numbers are astounding. Now, some in the NFL, they don't want to stand, you don't want to honor the flag, the country, the military, then stop taking all the money from the American people. Because let's be honest, you know what? They don't need it in the NFL.